Hey guys, welcome back. It's grimreaper coming at you for another video for Raidshadowlegends. Hopefully you're doing well and hopefully you're looking after yourselves and having a fantastic start to the week, wherever you are, and hopefully having a... We're looking forward to the start of the week anyway. We're on the weekend and it is coming to the end of the weekend. It is a very long weekend for sure. I'm feeling much better and I'm feeling, I guess I'm about 70% there now. Still got some bits and bobs going on after the food poisoning. It's been a long week. Trust me, it is a long week. Anyway, let's get into today's video. Today's video, we're going to talk about what the thumbnail says. We're going to talk about ice and fire. And why are we going to talk about ice and fire? How are we going to talk about ice and fire? Well, you guys might have seen some teasers already in a couple of videos if you've been keeping it up. We're going to talk about ice and fire. I wouldn't want to make this video for ages. Now, I will always say that this combination is niche, but when you can pull it off, it is extremely effective. We're talking about my man Vulkanos, one of my new heroes coming into my setup that I've been really pleased with. Like, he is very prone to polymorph, but other than that, he is very, very strong. A lot of people are calling him OP. I don't know if I agree with the OP statement because I don't think he's like a niche level, but I feel like with the synergy that he brings against the right teams really does offer a whole new play style for me, which is great. I need more go second strats and really consistent go second strats. I really like using this in live arena, classic arena, 3 versus 3, and also will be a new strategy for Siege as well. So he is obviously the fire, he is the burns, and we know how he works already. Go ahead and check out the video that I dropped last week. I will put it up here. This week, where we're talking about him and other factions and going more into depth about him. So we're going to talk about an insane duo between him and one of the oldest classic meta champions is Tormin back, and you would have seen me talking about him, and he was recently featured in one of my live arena fights this week in the fight. So we're talking about a very old school champion that a lot of people have because he was a guaranteed in a Titan event 2 years ago in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, in the Christmas. I know we're talking about Tormin the Cold. I know he was also a fusion, and I know plenty of people have him. I see him across the board in this meta right now, especially on the Gold 2 accounts, which is really, really interesting. And I do struggle against him sometimes if they ban the right champion. He is a pain in the bum, but with today's strat, we're going to talk about how we are taking down some of the best players in the live arena. I will be dropping another video next week, trying to drop Tormin and Vulkanos in the right fights. I'm not going to drop him into any fight because it doesn't really make sense to do that. You want to drop him in the right fights and then pull him off the victory. So keep an eye out for the thumbnails of Tormin or Vulkanos, and you can go ahead and check that out in the videos. I'll do my best to be dropping them quite recently. Maybe I'll even do like a YouTube short if I can pull something off. If I feel like the whole video is just not good, and we can pull something off in that one part of the video. Anyway, let's talk about him in Classic Arena, right? There isn't much to say. Why is it Ice and Fire? Well, Tormin has a crazy A1. It is AoE, and it has a 50% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Instantly activates this skill whenever an enemy is under a freeze and HE burn, and debuff takes a lot of damage from this. Obviously, Tormin has multiple weaknesses. Block buffs is one, Stone Skin is another. But against Stone Skin, he is generally fine because, well, what does Vulkanos do? Vulkanos burns off the Stone Skin, and the higher buffs that they do with like increased turn meter, etc. from him, he is burning that off, which opens up that freeze. Obviously, unfortunately, Tormin is not demon spawn, but it works fairly nice. And for me, I've been able to bring this duo back to make them work in live arena. And even if they banned Vulkanos, which they did today, session, Tormin still brought me home the honey because they banned the Vulkanos and he still brought me the honey. We're going to talk about his builds, and we're going to talk about some options of his builds and a few ways of building him as well, and my personal favorite builds in today's video. I will drop the timestamps down below. Don't want to try and drag this video out too much, but I want to explain the synergy between the two. So let's go into arena, let's find the teams, and let's have a look what we can do in there. Alrightio. So let's talk about the type of teams I would be looking for to drop him in. And these will be the same rules for the arena. So we're looking for buffs, obviously, to kick in Vulkanos. We want to take other demon spawn champions with him in case they banned one of the demon spawns. So in this video, we're going to use a Duchess and we're going to use a what do you call him, Carnage, right? The reason why we're going to do that is because Carnage's weakness is also Stone Skin as well as Tormin, but again Vulcan deals that with his passive ability with the HE burns, which we really like. Now we're going to put Vulcanus in the lead because Vulcanus has a speed aura and a defense aura, which really helps Tormin as well with that damage. We've got no increased defense in here, so we could look at trying and bring that in as well, and we'll probably spice it up a little bit throughout today's video for that, and then maybe spice up a bit more. Carnage is also very good for block revive against a lot of meta champions. Obviously, we're looking for someone that doesn't have block buffs. So, like for example, if they're dropping a Seafeed, we're not going to use a Tormin because it doesn't really make so much sense. She will counter half of the freeze. We are looking for champions like Habias. I guess Habias would be one. Arbiter, Lady M. There is plenty of champions in the meta that doesn't really need the block buffs. Shuzen as well could work. All these meta champions could be an option. And right now I'm finding them a little bit more safer than using a Hedgie just because of Stone Skin. So this is what we're in. We're not very high in the arena at the moment. I've been slacking on the arena side. I've been very busy. So my apologies for this. So the teams won't be so strong as it is, but they generally we're looking for the same. So these are the champions. Obviously, Song Wong is a fantastic champion, and is one of the champions that I'm still scared of. Honestly, he is not scared of. I guess respect and wary because he can always win a fight. Doesn't matter how much of a kraken you are. If he pops that A2 off and he gets lucky, that's gonna be quite well. Now, unfortunately, this team is poorly built because my Duchess is faster than his Arb, and that's not meant to be the case. But as you can see there was a burn, there was a freeze, and it was night, right? Then we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna take out that. That's gonna be a block revive. Sorry, not a block revive because we need more demon spawn. But you can see that this generally does. Now, Genti starter teams, Tormin is gonna kill them pretty quickly. Tormin is not the tankiest champions of them all, and can be a bit of an issue for that. We have another team here. We got a Arbiter, Arbiter for a Lady M and a UDK. UDK is not ideal because he's quite tanky. However, as long as we kill everyone else in that team, then we should still be successful with a victory of the end of the fight. So let's go ahead and let this happen. We see some burns going in. There's a counter attack. We're going to take some damage. We've got that lovely spicy reaction on Duchess and a bolster set to protect the team, as well as a bit of Stone Skin as well. You can see that all the champions are in Stone Skin set from the Arbiter. Now I can just flip and say goodnight to everyone. We're not going to do that. We're going to drag it out a little bit to kind of see them come into play. So we'll still play the Carnage. You can see lovely, we've got the buffs there. We know that we can't do a Hatred Burn block revive, but we can still kill him. Everyone's locked out except from the Tormin. We will do A2, play the fear, because then you can stack them buffs a bit more with the synergy of the thing. The synergy of the team. Now the 2 Stone Skin is gone on the UDK because he just put buffs up, and that burn has basically done its job, and we're able to take him out fairly quick and quite nicely, really, which is going to work like so. Now, Carnage and Vulkanus are EV duo on their own because they both counterattack, and they're a bit RNG dependent, but they can do the job very well. We could even take someone like this. If this didn't have a Pythian, then we could take someone like this. This is a very strong team. This has a bomb champion, which is very spicy and could potentially kill us, right? We have 2 weak affinities, so it's a little bit of an RNG fight. Nishak is no joke of a champion for Go second teams because of how strong he is. For some reason, there is a bolster set in here, and again, it's super slow. My Duchess is only about 301, so this Arbiter is poorly built. unfortunately, but this is what I do face in lower levels of arena. I guess it is what it is, and there's not much I can really do against it. So we'll go ahead and do all these. We will go ahead and do that, and there's going to be the bombs. Now Tormin's got a self revive passive, so he'll be fine. And we do have a bolster set as well, so I don't know if he will be able to kill the Duchess. I know if this was me, I probably would have died either way, but you know, hey ho. We will come in with that as well. Somehow we reflected the provoke back. Oh no, it was, I think it was Tormin actually. I was thinking like somehow we got Tormin there. And then we get able to do this. Now we could just use Carnage for the block revive. Carnage as well offers really nice CC and crowd control as well as Isu. So it's really nice support for this. And to be honest, like I can just put this team on auto, entertain chat in stream and not having to really worry about it. We have another champion, Lazarius. We have Armads to worry about. Now, bear in mind, Dush is not the only one that's not in Stone Skin, so he will get a bit of turn meter. We have a Lady Kiwi and we have Lazarius. Tormin is really good against Lazarius because Lazarius self buffs himself on the second form, and that can get him frozen. So, low key, Tormin is very good against Lazarius. FYI, I know he can play the block buffs once he's done his abilities, etc. He can definitely offer something. So you can see that we got some burns, some freezes coming through already. We do gonna get that polymorph. Everything else kind of survives. We will just flip here and see if we can do some damage. Maybe get rid of the Armads, for example. If we can, we get rid of everyone, which is pretty nice. We do it enough with the two champions to kind of make this work the way that we want it to. Now we're just going to come in with Carnage and he's going to do his thing. I have a relic on Carnage, which I'll do a video on next week if I get a chance to really compare with other relics in future. I probably won't do it next week, I'll probably do it a week after because I need to save the relic materials, but he's got a very interesting relic on him. So there we go. We got a Haikatoon bringing in that. Then obviously he has a cleanser, but that's perfectly fine. You can see that this is perfectly fine. And we know that if there's like 3 or more debuffs, Carnage gets a block revive on the AoE and it hits extremely hard. Carnage has godlike multipliers on all his abilities set from this one. This is the only one that does not have godlike multipliers. The rest of his kit has godlike multipliers, which is absolute fantastic. And you can see here we've just locked down the whole team. There's plenty of buffs. He's gone already with his side, and now we can play the block revive. So I can kill here, for example. It's won't offer me a block revive because we don't have all the demon spawn that we want, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And then we can obviously nuke with him, and then we could also block to revive there as well. Very squishy team and very easily to get rid of. We have another bomb champion here with a Mortar Macabre. This team doesn't really make much sense, but it has the same mechanics to land and burns and freezes, and you can really see the synergy of them. Once there's a hatred burn and the freeze lands from the passive, it's like shotgun, right? I'm going to call this team the shotgun team because it's incredible like how much they can offer to this. And this is a really solid strat to use anywhere. And there you are, there's one down already. Didn't even need to take a turn. So you can make all these champions, obviously, set from Duchess counterattack across the board. It is absolutely insane. And then obviously we're just going to clean it up, right? Why not? Like, we don't need to worry about anything else. Then we can just go ahead and get rid of Arbiter. There isn't no passive to worry about, like Marishka, for example, no problem. Marishka is going to be dealt with very quickly. Sigford, again. Lysandra, again, very perfect. We have Leo in here, who we can also probably lock out his passive if we get lucky enough and don't kill. We have to be careful, Leo, because we can do so much damage and it might trigger it very early. So you can see there, very easily, he's opened up with the sheep. We had the pinpoint to protect us, which is pretty nice. There goes the Leo. Again, coming through. Night night. Or, well, was meant to be night night, but you know, hey ho. Vulkanos does hit harder as the fight goes on. There's another counter attack because of that. A really nice synergy again. If you have that Vulkanos, put him to work for sure. Right, let's have a look at some more fights. And then, you know, next week we'll drop in a solid. I think we might have a couple of screenshots of the duo as well, to be honest. Okay, let's try a Marishka, right? We have a Marishka who's going to put out the burns. We have this team again doesn't really make a lot of sense, but we have the right buffs for us to do what we want to do. And then we're also going to offer, you're going to see Carnage come into play here as well. Like Carnage is going to do a lot of work against the Marishka here, and then obviously, and then these two will support sides. You're not going to see the Tormin coming effects because we're faster than them. You know, it's one of them ones. What can you do about it? Not much. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And they didn't really come into play because they're just poorly built, unfortunately. But again, we will make this work all the way through. And obviously, because we locked off the passive on her, her passive is not working as it should be or as intended with like the resistance, etc. Again, going through pretty nicely. Nothing to really worry about. And then we can look at other champions as well. We have Shazam. Here we go. We have a Narcissus, and we're in a bolster set, which is absolute hell. Now, there is obviously a couple of good counters to this team, like there is in any team in Raidshadowlegends right now, and that's fine. You know, we don't want it to be overpowering. But you can see that we had Stone Skin out on Narcissus, and now the Stone Skin's disappeared, right? We can see that both two of the champions out of the three counter-attacked out of the DPS. That's what I want to see, because a counter-attack gets their stuff down, right? Obviously, the more debuffs they got on them, the more turns we're going to get as well. And potentially, you know, kill them, which is what we want to see. Now, Song Wong is going to come back most likely. But again, there we are, right? We wiped him very easily. Now, Narcissus could have been potentially someone that one-shot me, didn't get a chance. No Queen and Core, that does help for sure. A couple of these teams have a Sifu. This team we could also counter very easily, but it's not really worth taking them on right now. Okay, so we have a block revive here. Block revive can be very dangerous. We have a lockout champion there as well. Lockout champion can also be very dangerous. Again, we're looking for that champions that can self buff, off them buffs, which is going to give that option to land the burns, to land the freezes. And that is when you know when this is going to be the perfect time to use this duo, right? You're looking for the buffs, you're looking for the basically anything that doesn't have like a block boss in it, it's open to this, right? And that is what you're looking for. The more squishier, obviously, the better, right? The more tanky it could be, then the more damage you need to do, and that's when Carnage will come into play more. Polymorph is probably the only downside to this team because there's 3 out of 4 champions that are very prone to polymorph, and if they ban the Duchess, that can also cause you some aggro because you might need that revive. Now, the Duchess, you want that you want that passive, not passive, the relic to really help support her as well. So again, we're going to go into this fight. We're going to go Vulkanos lead because he's in that pinpoint. Ideally, I would like to see one of submissive for like all these champions, but mainly on Vulkanos first, right? Because Vulkanos is probably the most important one in this comp to kind of make it work. Because if they're in Stone Skin, then we're kind of screwed. So you can see here, there's burns, there's freezes, and then we can counter attacks. There's 2 1 hit, which is pretty nice. Someone's gone down. And then, you know, we could play around with the team, but in a real case, you'll just flip and nuke, right? There's no need to mess around. They're being CC'd, they're being controlled, they don't have a chance. We can probably take out this Taurus and Marishka. It's a little bit more difficult because it's a tanky team. It's probably not the best of built Taurus and Marishkas as well, but there's buffs here, and no, not buffs there, sorry. Also, a set off the passive, which is going to be very, very useful as well because we can put that on cooldown, We can target Marishka like that. And then we do get some lockout. We don't get everyone locked out, unfortunately. We can play the fear to kind of help us with our case with this, which is, I think it's a 25% chance to proc. We can steal the Taurus. Oh, by the way, they're not going to counterattack as well. And we do kill the Taurus and spread all the debuffs across the board, which is what we want to see. Again, they counterattack very, very nicely, and we don't need to worry about killing Marishka because she's got that blocked out the skills on her for 2 turns, which is going to be very, very useful. And again, now she has enough debuffs on her to play that block revive. So let's do it, right? That's what we want to do. Everyone's got 3 buffs on us. It says here, if they're under, if you kill the targets with Bio Skill, which is a double hitter, which is great against strong affinity as well, under 3 or more debuffs, places a block revive on them. That's fantastic. That's what we want. So let's go ahead and do that. Block revive the whole team. Fantastic. Which is really, really, really amazing. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead right now and let's see all the builds then, because we've done plenty of the arena fights and etc. And yeah, let's go ahead and see all the builds, all right, and have a look at that overall. All rightio. So, you guys would have seen Vulkanos already. There's been a little bit changes in his stats. We've got a little bit more defense now in our strat, which is very, very nice. We've still got a bit of work to go. Let me just show you all the stuff. So the banner still needs a bit of upgrade. I'm still seeing if we're going to get a better banner or not before I really dedicate to that banner. And then the top row just needs to be done once I've got some Sand Devil Dust. We've got the defense substat there now. I could push for critical damage there, but to be honest, I still want really good defense. And then we've got this here. I don't know if we have a stone available now for this, so I guess we could go ahead and put in one of these as well. This could be an interesting one to put in. I guess I'm going to go with that because I don't really know where to put that with Roy's. And then these are his masteries as well behind my big forehead. We're already coming in with these counter-attack abilities as well. Now, if you can sneak in like a counter-attack accessory or something like that, that'd be perfectly fine. You could go 4-piece Stone Skin and 4-piece Savage, but be careful with Polymorph. I think really the Wonder Submissive's really going to help Vulkanos out a lot. I've only got one on account, and it's on in Marius, and I think we're gonna leave it on the Marius if I'm being honest. But he is very, very strong, and that works down to the T over that. You could also go maybe like 4-piece, 6-piece, or 9-piece pinpoint as well. Personally, I think for me, like the pinpoint and stone skin's the best way to go. Like his damage does increase throughout the fight. He is more looking good to me for live arena than anything, which is fine. That the fights will go on quite hard. Then we have the star of the show for today, which will be the ice. We're showing the fire, which is going to be the Tormin. Again, still got some work to go. I want him to be like 250 speed, minimum 6,000 defense. We're at 295 critical damage, which is not great for a +2 4-star awaken, if I'm being honest, but you know, hey ho. We got 4,400 accuracy. There is a lot of work to do here, so we will want to come in with accuracy here, critical damage there, and then the defense substat there once I farm a bit more. These boots will need to be updated, but again, don't really have a lot there, so we want defense or speed. I'll probably push it for speed. Here we'll leave this perfectly fine, and then we'll probably push this for critical damage or defense, which one comes first, and then like we'll leave that so. Again, with the relic, we just went with this. I would want Wonder Submissive on all 3 of the characters, but I think that this is perfectly fine for now. Obviously, Polymorph works perfectly fine on him there, and then these are the masteries as well. I'm going to be honest, I don't think these are the best masteries. These are just the masteries that I like to take, if I'm being honest. I think if you want to build them properly, I would say it's probably better to take the Fierce of Presence. I just like Ham Smasher too much, so I've gone for that instead, which is the way it is for that. Then I'll show you the Carnage as well, and I'll show you the Duchess, who was also on the video. This is Carnage. I use Carnage in speed teams, etc. So he's way faster than the rest, which is okay. You know, like I use him in a lot of combinations. So like if you see a Carnage, don't think that I'm just going to be dropping in a Vulkanos, because I can drop in like multiple strategies. And to be honest, like Carnage is one of my most used live arena champions out of everyone. Really good attack as well, reasonable accuracy, and I'm still waiting for. I've been waiting 5 months now for that accuracy level 5 to drop from Curse City, because I've cleared every single rotation of Curse City except from the first one, and I've been really lucky not to get a 6-star. That 6-star will help me. These are his stats when he is on his second form. Don't worry about his critical damage too much. Every 100 accuracy is 30 critical damage, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember his passive, if I, if I remember his passive, let me have a look. Passive on this would be, yeah, so 1% critical damage for every 300. So 300 accuracy is going to be 100 critical damage. So we're packing like 350 critical damage. And I'm also using this relic. I pulled this relic recently off the video that we did the other day, which is super cool. Not a cat glaze, and I would prefer that, to be honest. I think it's much better relic as a damage dealer. However, Carnage cycles through his abilities really quickly, especially if you still Terminator on that A3. Then I packed some gemstones in, so the wearer's damage increases by 1 of 100 of the total accuracy. So we're going to get 3% extra on that, and we will get a 5-star blessing at some point, which will give it extra 90 accuracy. And then we got Terminator reduction. I think that will need to be changed at some point. And then just this one here, which is perfectly fine. I think once I've got a better gemstone, we'll put it in. But again, I still prioritize for the champions. He's also going to get all the stats he wants: speed, critical damage, and attack. For the blessing, I went Team and Presence. If you're going to build him mainly for this team, I think Polymorph is probably the better way to go, or even Lightning Cage to put that tech that stone skin. But because I use him in other teams, I want that 6-star Team Presence in the future. And if you want it for more Hydra, then you go Cruelty or something like that. And then these are the masteries as well. So House Smasher behind my head, and some bits and bobs there. You could also go for a Retribution as well. I used to use him in Hydra, so that's barely why I didn't really take that counter-attack side. And he has got a good chance of counter-attacking already. This is the Duchess build. Again, you would have seen this, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. The relic here and the 2 gemstones. And then a triple reaction and a bolster set as well, which we have to be careful against Narcissus, but that's perfectly fine. I wouldn't really use this team against Narcissus anyway. Duo. So I guess that is it. That is gonna be super useful, and I guess that's it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully I didn't go on too long and ramble too long. And yeah, hopefully this was very useful. Let me know down in the comments what champions you want to see me 6-star next, and what you want to see guides on. I'm really curious what you guys want to see guides on, and where you want to see them in the content. Will we drop in more guides over champions that's been recently reworked, or champions who I feel are great additional, like free champions, and etc. Which can be used in P vs P and P vs E. I'm not going to go do Sealer Drakes, for example, because she's not going to be a great champion for P vs P, unless they decide to buff her. And I mean, I'm open to that. I like Sealer Drakes, so why not? How would you buff Sealer Drakes? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think she needs to be buffed? And how would you buff her? I'm kind of curious. Anyway, that is it for today's video. As usual, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. I'll be Grim. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.